This is the tale of Lord Swallow, our indolent and degenerate boss, an ancient monster renowned as the ultimate boss and protector of the Tower of Ancients. When his emotions spiral into chaos, accompanied by his Death Knight, Patrick, and the charming Blade Maiden, Renee, Lord Swallow is about to discover that his seemingly lazy and tranquil existence is not as eternal as he once believed. This marks the fourth part of this manhwa. If you haven't viewed the previous parts, you can access it by clicking the I button located above, or the link is provided in description. Explosions have caused widespread destruction throughout the auction house. Swallow emerged from the rubble, calling out to Mel's. He asked her what the magic she had just used was called. In response, she replied that it was called reconstruction, a high-ranking magic that caused the ground to collapse. She then asked him if he thought everything was now tidy. He replied by asking if she really had nothing else she could have used in that situation. She defended herself by saying that he couldn't blame her for what had happened. He had started posing and said, "Let's finish things." So she had used the coolest and most stylish magic. She questioned why he was now complaining. She added that if he wanted her to use a specific magic, he should have told her beforehand. He said that he trusted her to use her best judgment. Nervously laughing, he thought to himself that things were getting complicated. He then asked her if she remembered the way to that hub or whatever it was called. She said she remember it well. He said then go there and take care of it, since the humans will definitely be flocking that way, and he will leave it to her to making arrangements so he can go to Harston as soon as he arrived there. She said got it. She asked, but Sir Swallow, he has been saying Harston for a while now, but where is Harston? He turned to her and asked, do you know where the core of the ancient is, right? She confidently said of course she does. She always says this, but her favorite dungeon is the core of the ancient. Her talk was interrupted as he said it's the town closest to there. She said to tell you the truth, she only know about the core of the ancient from books. He said it's fine, let's get going. As she walked away, she said you can leave the hub to her, she will protect it. He said sure, I'll follow soon. After a little walk he said they are already here, and he asked, how many people would that be? One of the individuals said they are of the Longlara House, one of the 9 pillars of the Empire, the Longlara Blue Crane subjugation team. He identified himself as the subjugation leader and asked, who is he? Swallow believed that the others were busy getting into formation, and he didn't understand why humans behaved in such a way. However, he was worried upon hearing that a large number of people had gathered around the auction house, only to discover that they were soldiers of someone inside. He questioned, do you want to know who is he? Must he tell them? And he declared, I am their enemy. At that moment, in the core of the ancient, Sylvia expressed concern. She warned Nifrim that entering the cave meant risking never returning alive and the possibility of his soul becoming corrupted and wandering the world indefinitely. She suggested turning back, stating that it was still not too late. An irritated Nifrim responded, telling Sylvia not to mess around. However, she persisted, asking what would happen if she did mess around and calling him boring. She pointed out the strangeness of finding a room full of monster corpses, but encountering a clean room. Nifrim's eyes widened in realization, and he turned to the other members of the party, asking for their thoughts. The other members began their discussion with each other. One of them wondered if the Hishtalt's subjugation team could have made progress while cleaning up the place. He questioned whether a highly intelligent monster could have been responsible for the cleaning. Another member interrupted and asked if the dungeon had been attacked up until room 5, excluding the boss room. He expressed disbelief that a monster could have cleaned up everything. He also questioned why a monster would clean up another monster's corpse in the first place. As the discussion continued among the party, Nifrim scanned the room and shouted at the supposed prankster monster, telling him not to play such foolish tricks. He asked if he was trying to deceive them. Patrick exclaimed in surprise, commenting on how loud Nifrim was and how it made his ribs echo. Anyway, to his regret, he didn't deceive them. He had simply cleaned up because it was unsightly to see everything lying around. He had gone to great lengths to clean because he had heard guests were coming. However, he warned that if they were cursed at, he would become upset. Nifrim turned to Sylvia, asked to illuminate the room with her magic. In response, Sylvia agreed and used illuminate magic to lighten the room. Patrick exclaimed, oh my, so bright. Well, in any case, they worked hard getting to such a rare place, even though he didn't call for them. He then greeted them saying welcome. He thought to himself, skeleton, and addressed him as the Death Knight Patrick. Irritated Patrick muttered, he even prepared an introduction for them, but it seems that was pointless. Now he can't even use the introduction. Dialogue he strenuously worked on all day to prepare. Thanks a lot for that, you damned bastards. Continuing, Patrick said, no, their reactions are too savage. Everyone, calm down for now and put away their weapons. Ms. Mage, can she put back her staff? And you over there, lower your fists. He then asked, did he say something weird? At that moment, Nifrim rushed to attack him, but his attack was blocked. However, Nifrim exclaimed, his bullshit ends here. Patrick criticized his lack of manners, stating, he don't even give him time to breathe. As he distracted by him, Sylvia used Ice Bolt Shower to attack, surprising Patrick slightly. He commented, he feel this every time. 1 versus all is definitely too much for him. Even though he will win, of course. Seizing the opportunity, Nifrim swiftly moved forward to launch an attack. Although most of the attacks were blocked by Patrick, one strike succeeded, causing him to lose grip of his sword and drop it to the ground. He thought regretfully that this outcome was unexpected and commented, for a human his strength is good. Sylvia employed multiple buff spells on Nifrim, including Strong Body, Reading Omens, Light Feathers, Step of Silence, Boiling Blood, and Bone Ashes of Famous Warrior. He asked, the secret to his strength was buff magic, isn't that quite unreasonable? He also thought to himself that those buffs wouldn't last long, only 1 minute. If he could last just 1 minute, he might have a chance. Then Sylvia used multiple restraining spells on Patrick, causing him to freeze in one place. Patrick commented, this is a bit problematic. In that moment, Nifrim caused Patrick to crash to the ground and stepped on his back, demanding, say that again. Who'll beat who? He laughed and said, impressive. He never thought they would use magic to drive him into a corner. Other members of the party began to murmur quietly, what is it? Already over? The core of the Ancient's Guardian isn't all that much, Patrick said as expected. Should he have gotten rid of the green-haired mage first? Nifrim stepped on him forcefully, causing the ground to break, uttering, shut up, and tried to deliver a lethal strike, but Patrick effortlessly blocked it with 2 fingers. Patrick started laughing, stating that was fun this time. He was really immersed in his acting. Sorry. This caused Nifrim to sweat nervously. Patrick continued by saying he didn't plan to mess around at first, but he had been bored for the past few years. Even if it was just acting, he wanted to experience the feeling of crisis once. He thanked everyone for playing along to his rhythm. A little later, Nifrim shouted in confusion as he woke up and asked, what just happened? Patrick, noticing Nifrim's awakening, asked, oh, you're awake? He replied it only took him just a few seconds to wrap things up after he collapsed. He said to him that it would be quicker for him to see it by himself. Out of all the humans to have encountered him so far, not one has ever survived, not a single one. He believed he knew these details since he knew his name, but it seems all he knows is his name, and nothing else. He threw the girl toward him and said, oh, still. That green-haired magician was quite challenging to deal with. Using wide-range divine magic makes his bones itch just thinking about it. He continued, anyway, is he Nifrim, right? That magician kept calling out that name, until the very end. She called for him so desperately. He said that he had hoped for a more emotionally charged reaction, but his response was quite boring. Nifrim was quite ruthless. He said that now it was time for a survivor question and answer session. Even if Fimor was a moron, he wouldn't have sent just 30 people. And honestly, he was sorry to say this, but this subjugation party was subpar. And he asked, so tell me, what is he hiding? He said that since he was a very kind and generous skeleton, he was going to offer him some choices. If he was willing to answer, he should raise his right hand. If not, he should raise his left, he said. A wise choice. If he tell him everything, he will grant him a clean and painless death. He can't believe he was cursed in this way too. He said that he would respect his decision, and asked him to please die slowly. He thrust his sword into his back as he walked away, saying, when will he ever clean up all of these? Still, he guesses it'll be easier than before? A little later, he wondered if he was gone. He looked closely at the dead body of Sylvia and apologized, but acknowledged that he had to continue living. He began to consume her lifeless body, causing unsettling crunching sounds to reverberate. Patrick, who was hiding nearby, heard these sounds and thought to himself, what an unpleasant noise. He had suspected that there was something hidden beneath the surface. He questioned whether consuming corpses made him stronger, and aided in healing his wounds. Furthermore, he pondered if this ability accumulated with each meal and if it was limited to human corpses only. He also questioned the source of this ability, whether it was alchemy or magic. As Nifrim continued with the gruesome act of eating, Patrick persisted in his thoughts, since there were plenty of corpses available, he believed he should take his time to test this ability. Nonetheless, he wondered where his boss was and what he was doing, hoping that he wasn't engaged in any strange activities in an unusual location. The scene shifted to capital Liaise, where Swallow stood upon hundreds of lifeless bodies. One approached him and she asked, "What is this?" Turning toward her, he asked, "Is she here to die too?" She replied, "No, she is wooing Historia, the hero," he stated. He never asked who she is. Well, he like her spirit, but she can't defeat him. As she rushed forward, thinking, even if that's true, she have to stop him. She employed a crushing blow once again to attack him, but this time he effortlessly blocked her assault. With a sigh, he apologized and said, "But she will only get to land one attack on him." He tightened his grip on her gauntlet and said, "Go on, try to escape again. If you can, that is." She thought to herself, she can't defeat him, but can she buy some time? As he slammed her to the ground, the impact caused the ground to collapse, and she coughed out some blood from her mouth. She persisted in her belief that she is a hero, and thus, her duty as a hero is to protect. Lifting her from the ground, he asked, "Is it over?" She responded, claiming to be a hero named Win Historia, expressing her refusal to be defeated. She declared her determination to protect her people from him. Despite her efforts to attack him, her strike proved ineffective. She asserted that being a hero meant she had to protect innocent people. He congratulated her, acknowledging that her sacrifice was not in vain. He promised to remember her name, although he was uncertain for how long. He expressed respect for her perseverance and offered her a painless death. However, before he could deliver the final blow, someone intervened by attacking him from behind, saving her from harm. Turning around, he questioned the identity of the individuals, comparing them to sausages that continued to appear one after another. One of them explained that she had taken drastic measures to save Ms. Wynn and apologized for their rude actions. He sarcastically asked if she would forgive someone who apologizes after hitting her on the back of her head. She expressed, "Allow me to extend my greetings, however belated they may be." She introduced herself as Arl Ethelbria's Gal Livison, a member of the Ethelbria's Black Tigers Order, and expressed her honor in meeting the almighty Lord Swallow. He inquired, "Did she just call him Lord Swallow? How did she know?" She replied that she simply had a talented person under her command who was able to recognize him. He thought that her smile was hiding something. He said, "Well, fine, but right now, I am in quite a bad mood and you are wasting my time. If you are planning to attack me after running your mouth, then just get it over with." She assured him that he was mistaken and they wouldn't dare to fight against him, Lord Swallow. They had no intention of fighting and had simply come to offer him a deal. He asked what kind of deal when he had nothing to regret. She better read the situation carefully, as insulting him would not result in an easy death for her. She believed that this was a gamble with the safety of the Empire on the line. She revealed that the original owner of the beheading Fong was still alive. She assumed that he didn't come all the way there just to retrieve a virtuous masterpiece. Lord Swallow, they had come to offer him aid in fulfilling his desires. He asked what she would do if he said he didn't have anything he wanted help with. He wondered if she would still be willing to assist him. Furthermore, he questioned what she would do if he came to obtain the beheading Fawn out of boredom, but in reality, his true intention was to exterminate all humans. He pondered how she would react in that situation. This caused her to nervously sweat as she asked if he planned to destroy everything in the end, implying that it might not be worth trying to help him. He confirmed that she wanted to avoid destruction and instructed her to immediately find out where the owner of the item was. She agreed to follow his command and asked Garrett to step forward. Garrett acknowledged her request, addressing him as Lord Arl. She mentioned that he might have met her once before. She explained that in order to locate someone, she needed to examine the traces they had left on objects. She asked for permission to inspect the beheading Fong, if he was okay with it. He warned her that if she did anything foolish, she wouldn't just lose one arm. She assured him that she understood. She sensed someone who had left an overwhelming amount of traces. They were too far away to determine their precise location, but the person was moving west, in the direction opposite of Lia's Imperial Palace. He thought, "West, that's towards Harston," and he said, "That information is enough." He believed Renee was still alive. With a sigh of relief, he expressed gratitude, saying, "He is in your debt. He remembers you too." Arl said that he was honored to have helped him. He moved towards the teleportation hub while telling people in front to move. As he arrived at the hub, she said, "Sir Swallow, he is a bit too late." As he saw a large number of corpses in front, she said, "Look at this," I upheld my promise. She did well in defending the teleportation hub. With this, she think it's enough to say that the favor has been sufficiently returned. He said yeah, it's enough. She worked hard, and he thanked her. Let's see, is this how he use it? The cords are to Harston, and if he infuses his mana, but as he infused his mana into the teleportation hub, it exploded. He think it couldn't endure his mana? He was pretty confident, since his polymorph was quite stable though. If he used Demura's mana suppression function for transfer magic, wouldn't he be able to safely use teleport then? He would have to undo polymorph for that, but if he did, he would practically be announcing his existence to all the living things around him. Screw it, he had already screwed things up past the point of no return. It was too late to end things smoothly. As he removed Demura's mana stone, he destroyed the hub building as he reverted back to his original form. He think the coordinates are Harston, Magic Tower Wing. Then the scene shifted to Harston Magic Tower. One of the representatives of the tower said, "Welcome to the Magic Tower Wing. Your affiliation and house can be confirmed through a simple verification process." She asked, "Can I use transfer magic here?" He replied, "No, our magic tower has a resistor that surrounds the entire premises, so you cannot enter without going through the verification process." She said, "Then it looks like you can't escape death," and used her blade to kill him. She think, "When I first got here, I had a thought that the humans' magic towers are similar to dungeons." Sure enough, magic towers are basically dungeons made up of humans. They're just weak monsters. A little later, she continued with her thinking. She killed all the humans she could find on the first floor. All that was left was the top floor of the tower. Amr asked, "Oh my," she prepared quite a bit. "I wonder who the opponent was. But is it that noble young girl from before? So she wasn't a human?" She inquired about the location of the beheading Fong. Amr said that's already her property. She sees there's no point in telling her where it is, but she is curious about something. How is she still alive? As she assumed the stance to attack, Amr couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh my! She is carrying around a weapon that doesn't match her cute face?" As she employed a magic shield, she asked, "But does she really think she can face the Magic Tower Guild Master with nothing but a blade like that? What does she plan to do using a blade with no attributes?" Her thoughts were interrupted as her shield was broken apart by Renee's attack. She couldn't help but think, her defensive magic in one go. This brat, no, this monster. Just how strong is she? Even so, this was a magic tower erected atop a spring of mana. If she used all the mana flowing in this place, she could definitely win. Renee asked, "Where's the beheading Fong?" "Hurry up and tell me," she replied with disappointment. "What a shame. The beheading Fong is no longer here. It's been a while since I put it up for auction. She used Magic Realm and think she seems quite strong, so I will go all out from the start." She unleashed various spells, employing Lance of Longinus, Divide, Chase, Accelerate, and Depravity of Holy Light. Amr said, "Try piercing through this." Following his words, there was a sizable explosion as the spell took effect, resulting in destruction and a cloud of dust. As the dust settled, Amr saw Renee being pierced by multiple magic blades and coughing up a lot of blood on the floor. Amr said, "Exactly, this is what happens when a monster dares to pretend to be human." Amr thought this is top-class magic that not even most dungeon bosses can withstand. There's no way someone like her can handle it. However, Amr's thoughts were interrupted as Renee cut off both her hands, and she crashed to the floor in pain. She said, "It hurts." "How did this happen?" Renee continued, "All I did was cut off her hands." "Don't make such a fuss, human." She voiced her unwillingness to die, emphasizing her determination to live as she crawled on the ground and urgently pleaded, "Save me." She thinks it's over. Any trace of her has been erased. Now what is she supposed to do? What's left for her? She is tired if she falls asleep now. But her thoughts were interrupted as someone said, "Leader?" She turned around and saw a green-haired person named Hyam. Said, "Leader, how did this happen?" "Get a hold of yourself," she said. "It's Hyam, right?" He said, "Just hold on, you have to." But his talk was interrupted as she said, "It hurts, hurry and treat." "No, kill that bitch." He turned around to find Renee gravely wounded. He said, "Calm yourself, leader. You have lost too much blood." And he asked, "Do you see what this is?" She asked, "What is it?" "I can't see it clearly." He said, "Oh my, you can't see it? It's a mana stone with high-rank magic that allows you to escape from here. But I don't have enough mana to activate it. You have to imbue your own mana to activate it." She thinks that's the same thing that's in the love stone. How could she forget that unpleasant feeling? Amr said, "Thanks, now she can live." As she imbues her mana into the stone, the curse activates and she starts screaming in pain. He says she has too many enemies. How bad must it be for Rin to come and seek revenge? even in her own family, within the grommets. How bad must it have been for them to give the order to get rid of her the moment she acted suspiciously? Turning to Renee, he asks, "Isn't that right?" He says he is grateful to her for doing his job for him, but at this rate she might come after him this time. Isn't that right? So this is a form of insurance that'll buy him enough time to escape. Goodbye then, he says. Renee thinks she can't see out her right eye anymore. That's not an opponent she can beat with a completely battered body and without a proper weapon. But that's enough. Pathetic. She will pay the price here. She will erase any trace of herself forever. She said, "Still, don't you dare try to cover Lord Swallow's scent with those dirty hands. Not even if I die." She leaped onto her adversary, driving her blade into her eye. In response, her adversary hit back, thinking, if he finds out she died, will Lord Swallow be sad? At that moment, Lord Swallow teleported there and caused the magic tower to collapse. He asked, "Is she okay?" When she was first saved, it was a similar situation to this. Her body and mind were sapped of strength, and she couldn't find the meaning of life. The one who appeared before her was Lord Swallow. Alright, everyone, that's the end of the video. If you liked this video, comment Part 5 in the comment section. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and like the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time again.